Okay, I don't know if you remember the very confusing lesson that we did about almost a week ago. It was last Friday. This is the other half of it, and we're just going to see how you do, okay? You took a very confusing math assessment yesterday, so maybe this is going to make more sense to you now. You never know. So the first part says write expressions to match the diagrams, then evaluate. The first thing I do is see how many equal parts I have on my tape diagram.
3.
And what would this be right here?
1/3.
So if I'm putting these numbers into an expression, I'm probably going to multiply and add. So if I'm going to multiply and add, who has an idea of how I could write that? Brian, I'll start with you.
All right. 1/3 times 8 plus 9 in parentheses.
Very good. Now we'll just solve it. That's what evaluate means, solve. So if I'm going to solve this, the next thing I will do is 1/3 times what? 17. Now, we could do, don't write this, but we could do equals 1 times 17 divided by 3 and then see if we can find some factors to simplify. But there's no reason to do that. Does anybody know why there's no reason? Whitley?
Because you can just multiply 17 times 1.
You could. Now, I mean, that's true. But there's another reason I have that I know 17 is not going to have a factor.
It's a prime number.
The prime number. So instead of 17 times 1, I'll just write 17/3. And then you have a choice, boys and girls. Do you want to make that a mixed number in your head, or do you want to use a standard algorithm? That's your choice. Okay? So I'm just going to remind you what the standard algorithm looks like real quick. 3 goes into 17 5 times. 3 times 5 is 15. So that would be 5 2/3 if you write it out. So the answer to this problem, 5 2/3. Okay? All right. So I'm going to take a look at the next one. If I am trying to figure out the total, I'm going to take something times 3. But I can't skip anything. So how about I pull a stick and you give it a try? All right, Aiden, I'll let you try this. Then I'll start pulling sticks.
Yes.
Okay, so what would you write for this expression?
In parentheses, put 3/5 plus 1/2. And then multiply it by 3.
Very good. Would it be wrong if you put the 3 at the beginning?
No. But
Okay, so what's my common denominator here?
10.
5 times what equals 10?
2.
2 times what equals 10?
5.
So I have 11/10 times 3. Now in block 2, we figured out something very important. When you're multiplying, leave it an improper fraction until the end, because it's so much easier to multiply improper than it is mixed number. So here I just do 11 times 3, 33/10, which equals
3 10.
very good. Now imagine if I would have made this 1 1/10 times 3. I would have to do 2 separate problems.
Yeah.
I would have to do 1 times 3 and then 3 times 1/10. So it's easier, boys and girls, to save the mixed number till the end when you're multiplying.
And you could
Probably
mess
divide
up
too.
and you could mess up and do it to the denominator too.
You could. So let's take a look at these. This is where I will start pulling sticks. So your brains are going to have to be engaged in this. No falling asleep like that little boy in block 1 did.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, I don't know why I'm looking at you. It wasn't you. But I'm not going to mention any names.
Austin? You said little.
But his initials are TB.
Touch.
Here's what I thought to myself, that kid has been sleeping on me since way back when he was 5 years old in church group. He would say his memory verses, and then he'd sleep on the pew the rest of the time until it was time for games. And then he'd wake up. Okay, so I said, you can't sleep in 5th grade math class. That's different than being 5 years old.
And it's different from being in high school where.
Well, or on a Wednesday night. when you-
So.
Okay, so if you can't say something nice, don't say it. I don't like your tone either. So 1/6 the sum of 16 and 20. What mathematical words do you see in there that might tell me what I'm going to do? Sum. What does that mean? Add. Of doesn't really count here because it's sum of. No, that's still adding. 1/6 of the sum is what that means. So this word of means to do what? Multiply. Okay, I'm going to pull a stick. Whitley, give it a try.
1/6 times 16
Awesome. 1/6 times 16 plus 20. What do I do first, Nathaniel? Okay, so, whoops, I don't need my parentheses anymore. So 1/6 times 36 equals 36, 6, which equals 36 divided by 6.
Well, 6 is.
This is getting easier, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, the next one. Now I'm going to give you a word of advice. Remember I said when you're multiplying, say the next number till the end, leave it an improper fraction. When you're subtracting, make sure you do it at the end of your expression. You don't want to subtract first. Okay? So it says subtract 5 from 1/3 of 23. Rudy. Subtract 5 from 1/3 of 23. Now what did I say about the subtract?
Leave it at the end.
Put it at the end, so put it there right now. What will you put in front of it, Rudy?
1/3 times 23.
1/3 times 23. And do I need this in parentheses?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, it would probably work without because you always multiply before you subtract. But just so we're not confused. So this is 1/3 of 23 is 23/3 minus 5. Now I'm not multiplying, so it's going to be easier to work with a mixed number. So 23/3 as a mixed number. Rudy, you want to help us out on that since I pulled your stick? How many times does 3 go into 23?
2/3.
Minus 5. So what's my answer, boys and girls? 2 and 2/3. All right, we've got 4 more of these to decipher.
Yay. What's that?
I don't know. What do you think decipher means?
Solve.
Solve.
Oh, that's a big word.
Okay, so 3 times the sum, 3 times as much as the sum of 3/4 and 2/6. Three times as much the sum of 3/4 and 2/6. So I see sum, and what other word do I see? Times. Nathaniel. So I have times and sum. Tell me what I need to write.
3 times 3/4 and plus 2/6.
Very good. Now the common denominator is not 24. What is it?
12. Good job, Brian.
Now in block 3, someone said, no, it's not 24. We're going to find a number that's smaller than that. And that's a good strategy. So 4 times what equals 12?
3.
So 3 times 3. And 6 times what?
2. 4.
Okay, so 3 times 13
Which is
12ths. Now don't. Because I'm multiplying, let's wait. So I have 3 times 13 divided by 12. Write that out, trust me. We're going to factor. Now this is opposite of what we've been doing, but it works the same way. 3 divides evenly into 12. How many times?
4.
Okay, so now I have a much simpler problem to solve. 13 divided by 4 equals, whose stick did I pull? Nathaniel. 13 divided by 4. 3 and,
One.
he's doing it. 3 and, very good, 3 and 1/4. Okay, D. 2/5 of the product of 5, 6, and 42. Now I see some ofs, I also see another word.
Product.
Product. Brian, don't tell us what that is. Gabe's going to tell us what that means. What does product mean? What am I going to do? Multiply? Product is the answer. Did you learn it like this? Factor, factor, product?
Yes.
Yeah. A factor is what you multiply. Okay. So, pulling a stick here, we've got Yamale. You want to give this a try?
2/5 times
2/5 times 5, 6. So if I take 5, 6 times 42, I think I'm going to see if I can factor that. 5 times 42 divided by 6.
You can.
I can. So how will I factor? 6 goes into 42 7 times. So that is 2/5 times 35. Would you like to try and factor again?
No.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 times 35 divided by 5. Don't you think we should factor now instead of making a 70?
Yeah.
Okay, so 7, so my answer is 14. Factoring helps. 8 copies of the sum of 4/3 and 2 more. Now, first of all, I want you to think, what does copies of mean? Carson.
Multiplication.
Multiplication. Thank you for not saying times. And sum, what does that mean? Add, not plus.
Addition.
Okay, so 8 copies of the sum and 4/3 and 2 more. Brian, hold your stick.
8 times 4/3 plus 2.
Okay, now this is where I want you to stop for a minute. I am multiplying, and it's easier to multiply times an improper fraction than it is times a mixed number. So I can go ahead and add this together, and I get 2 and 4/3. But let's make it an improper fraction to make our lives easier. So as an improper fraction, 2 times 3, what is that? Plus 4.
10.
So 10/3. So 8 times 10/3 equals 80/3. Now why didn't I write 8 times 10 divided by 3?
There's no factor.
3 doesn't share any factors of 8 and 10. Okay, so 80 divided by 3, go ahead and do that. This is the best way to do it, boys and girls. It's too far away to just do it in your head. So 3 times 2. Emmett, how many times does 3 go into 20?
A little less than
How about 6?
Yeah. Good job, Emma.
So the answer,
26 thirds.
26 and 2/3.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Last problem. 4 times as much as 1/3 of 8. 4 times as much as 1/3 of 8. Justin, would you like to try?
4 times 1/3.
Good. Now, probably keep the improper fraction since we're multiplying,
Yes.
if there is one. So 8/3, there is one. 4 times 8/3. So let's do 4 times 8 divided by 3. 3 doesn't go into either one of those, does it? So I kind of wasted my breath here and my time. 32 thirds, which equals,
10 and
just a minute, let's see if he's right. What do I do if there's no way to divide? Very good. 10 and,
2/3.
very good.